I'm really upset about something, and I just want to share it with someone. I'm not sure if it's a confession or not, but I need to talk about it. Here goes. So, my mom is seeing this guy named Elijah. I guess you could call him my stepdad. Anyway, today we were at my boyfriend's house, which is just a few houses down from mine, and his mom brought us some McDonald's, me, my boyfriend, and my siblings. So before they arrived with the food, my brother came outside when he wasn't supposed to, so we sent him back inside. About 10 to 15 minutes later, my boyfriend's mom showed up with the McDonald's, and we ate and hung out. We started playing around and totally forgot about my brother's food. It was time to go back inside. So my sister took my brother's food and put it in the fridge. Then I got a message from my mom asking why my brother didn't get any food. She was on the phone with my stepdad. Before I could even respond, my stepdad started yelling at me, saying it was unfair that my brother didn't get anything and accusing me of thinking my sister had eaten it. So I explained we did get him food, but I thought Izzy ate it. My mom replied, "No, it's in the fridge then." My stepdad inexplicably lost his temper, accusing us of being rude to my brother and demanding to know why we didn't tell him the food was for him. I asked, "Why are you getting so mad?" He threatened. "Pick on someone your own size, or I'll find someone your own size." I was furious at this point. He continued to curse at us for no reason, even though my brother was sitting there eating the food. Now, I'm not speaking to him. What should I do now? Story 2. I wasn't honest with many people, including my friend, ex, co-worker, and others. I've made mistakes and poor choices, and I'm struggling with feelings of guilt and shame. Instead of facing my mistakes directly, I'm writing about them here anonymously. Let me start with my friend S. I made a hurtful mistake in high school 2018 by getting involved with his girlfriend J at the time. It was a one-time mistake, and I regret it deeply. J wasn't pregnant at the time, and it wasn't until a year later that she told my friend S she was expecting. I felt remorseful ever since. They had the child, but she left and gave my friend full custody. As the child grows older, the guilt still lingers. Regarding my ex-A, I've treated her poorly, especially after high school. Things were tough for her back then, and I made it even harder for her. A and I were together, but her argument with her mom led to her staying with me, without realizing it would be for good. Her mom left, leaving A in my care. Things were okay at first, but eventually my feelings for her changed, and I didn't feel the same way about her anymore. I've always avoided breaking up with someone due to fear of causing emotional distress or harm. I would sometimes visit her dad in Mississippi due to conflicts, and that's when I started cheating on her with an ex. Unaware that she was also cheating on me around the same time. Both of us had cheated, so we tried to move past it and work things out, but the fights continued, and eventually she moved out and got her own place. Months later she reached out, and I was already interested in someone else, V, but I ended things with her anyway. My coworker G knows my interests and desires, and since I'm not ready for a serious commitment like being a dad, I started distancing myself from her daughter. Then I reconnected with A at her new place, and we started being intimate again. We both enjoyed ourselves, but things took a surprising turn. I later found out she was also seeing an old coworker, and they had been intimate just days before. He didn't use protection and ... Well, let's just say it was a lot to take in. She reached out to me again, but it was clear it was meant as revenge. I realized she had used me to get back at him, and that hurt. I couldn't believe how quickly she moved on and involved me in her plan. Even now, I question whether my feelings are justified. I admit, I haven't seen her in the same way since then. She went so far as to ask me to pay for emergency contraception because the other guy couldn't take responsibility for his actions. Despite our complicated situation, she was supportive during my mental breakdown, offering comfort and help. The next day, she took care of her own needs by getting emergency contraception. This was around Valentine's Day, and I was upset about having to support my cheating ex. Who would have had a family if I hadn't been in the picture? I shared my frustrations with her, but she didn't take it well, and we ended up fighting again. Now, she's planning to move back to Pennsylvania to be with her mom, and I'm trying my best to make the transition smooth and peaceful. But I messed up again when I found a flirty note from G on my vape at work, which only added to the tension. I crumpled up the note and put it in my pocket, which wasn't the best idea. It was the first note from G since I distanced myself from her, and I shouldn't have kept it. I drove to pick up from her work, then headed to my friend's house, Ezra's brother, to get some weed. While I was inside, I searched my car and found the note. She got out of the car and started walking away down the road. I panicked when I couldn't find her, and my mind raced with worst-case scenarios, including kidnapping, since S's neighborhood isn't the safest. I later found out she had written her own message on the note, telling me to come find me, and then walked off. I wasn't going to chase after her, so I went home since we were both upset. She came into the room, furious, and told me to go outside so we could fight. I refused, knowing that I was angry enough to hurt her, but I would never lay my hands on a woman. So I left and went back to my friend's house, unable to deal with the situation. Now, I'm sitting in my car, curled up in the back seat, feeling overwhelmed and consumed by my own flaws and mistakes. We've lost trust in each other, and I'm not sure if anyone will even read this. I'm just writing it down because I'm too afraid to share my struggles with my friends or anyone else. Things are getting worse every day. And this isn't the life I wanted to build for myself. It feels like a fragile house of cards, held together by lies and deception. Story 3. I'm really ashamed to admit this, but something terrible happened. A friend convinced me to go with her to a store, and things went horribly wrong. The sales staff caught her shoplifting, and because I was with her, they took me too. In the chaos, I made a stupid mistake and took a pair of earrings. I know it was wrong, and I'm deeply regretful. As if things couldn't get worse, I realized the cashier was someone I knew. We had matched on Bumble months ago. I'm sure he recognized me, and I'm mortified. I've blocked him on everything, but that doesn't erase the humiliation. I already feel terrible about what happened, but this added layer of awkwardness is overwhelming. I just needed to get this off my chest and share my embarrassment with someone. Let me clarify, I wasn't arrested, but the store banned us and took our information. I'm still grappling with the guilt and shame. I've talked to my friend about what happened, and my conscience is already eating away at me. We're both in our late teens, and I'm a bit older than her. I could try to come up with some weak excuse for my actions, but honestly, I'm not going to bother trying to spin it. I'm just going to own up to my mistake. And as for why I mentioned my friend in the first place, I want to make it clear that I'm not trying to shift the blame onto my friend, but rather give you a glimpse into my perspective. What I did was wrong and illegal, and I take full responsibility for my actions. I will learn from my mistakes. I'm sharing this on our confession because my guilt is crushing me, and I know this is a form of karma. However, receiving death threats isn't helping to ease my guilt, it's only making things worse.